Thank you for watching this Last Mile Profits video.
UPS's attempt to improve prices with Amazon may have been the kiss of death. Keep watching to find out more.
Last Mile Profits is brought to you by Parcel Pending by Quadient.
Gary, we don't talk about things across the ponds too often.
Well, it's opposite we should, I feel. I mean, it's an important topic.
I absolutely agree. And, when we were preparing the material for today, you mentioned something really interesting from the United States. Maybe you'd like to share it with everyone, because I think it's a hot topic and it's an important topic.
Yeah, I'm not living in the detail of this, but what I understand is that the mood in USPS is that they are, everybody knows that they're massively loss-making and have had huge financial difficulties and have been living sort of hand to mouth from handouts from the US central government for many, many years now, under at least the last two postmaster generals. And they've decided that a big part of that is carrying stuff on behalf of Amazon in particular at loss-making rates. So they're carrying stuff at rates that are too low to sustain the business. And it's a very easy trap to fall into. There's huge volumes available. You're trying to operate in a commercial way. Every year that you come up for review, what price are you going to give me? Well, if you want to keep it, I need a better price. And then over a period of time, you find your rate has been eroded away. And the only person that's actually benefiting is the customer and not you as a supplier. So sometimes you can move your cost base to stay in line with it. But I think they've just drawn a line in the sand and they're going to do something about it.
So if I understand correctly, what they've said is, basta, we are not going to continue with these sort of rates. But what is really interesting is what Amazon has done.
Well, they've said what they're going to do is they're going to run a reverse auction for the pricing to try to achieve the best possible rate per parcel and try to get back to a position where the rates they can get is sustainable for them as a business with the cost base that they have now. So you could really regard that's a very reasonable thing to do because it's important infrastructure and they should at least be able to wash their face. Or you could look at it and say, this is an old organization with too many people, with too much cost, too many unions, too much pension scheme, too much overhead. And why should we use an organization like that should really be sorting itself out? So Amazon's response to that is, well, okay, fine. We'll take the rest of our volume away. We'll take our ball home. You won't play our games. We're going to take a ball home. And we're going to build our, really roll out massive infrastructure and create their own low-cost alternative to the postal service and become a completely closed network and not put anything outside, which is fascinating.
And that is, and surprise, surprise, the only way I can see this working, if they really want to get costs down to that sort of level, is, surprise, surprise, out of home. They're going to have to develop a really strong out-of-home footprint in the US. Because honestly, given the cost of labor out there, I cannot see any other model that would allow them to achieve the price. Because I'm with you. I think what happened is, for many reasons, one of them was this fear of losing Amazon. The price went down, 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 down. The fear and perhaps misunderstanding that actually there was a point at which USPS were paying Amazon for the privilege of doing business with them. And it meant that the price is unsustainable potentially. So the only way that Amazon, with all their technology, are going to be able to do this until the next generation of humanoid robots arrive, and that's still going to be a couple of years, I believe, is to go out of home. So this could mean, I'm pleased we've launched our first Last Mile Experts out of home report. I have to do a plug for that at this moment. But is 2026, 2027, 8, are they going to be the years of out of home in the US?
I think the US has woken up to out of home. And how unsustainable it is to deliver to every US home because the distances are huge. The spaces between properties sometimes is huge. The costs are astronomical. There are a couple of factors in the US market that are very different to over here. One is Amazon's dominant market share of e-commerce. So in this week, in this kind of Black Friday, Cyber Monday through to now, this peak of the peak, Amazon are 80% of e-commerce transactions in the US. There isn't another country that's even vaguely like it. The UK is pretty strong with Amazon, but I think it's like 25 or 30% of e-commerce. It's not over half. And places where they basically shrug Amazon off and ignore them, Poland, France, etc., where they just don't care. They're nowhere near of that. So if they're ever going to do it anywhere, it's going to be in the States.
Now, Gary, I got to put the T word here. I think a lot of that, because getting to that sort of level must be to do with the Trump's policies on tariffs as well. The obvious alternative was the sort of low price Chinese volumes. With that relatively in decline, Amazon's position is just totally untouchable.
Well, and my 80% figure is a fairly old stat. Was before Temu and Shein were doing the huge numbers that they're doing now and then going away. So it's probably swung back to more like how it was before the Chinese invasion, for want of a better word. But I think that means the eyes are on cost, the eyes are on sustainability, and I'm in complete agreement with you. It is remarkable. And
Hold on a minute, Gary. Please, for the benefit of our audience, can you just say that once again, please? I don't hear this awful.
it's been a very long hour for you, Marek, and I apologize. But yeah, I do agree that out of home has to be part of it in the States. For 20 years, I've been watching the US market, and they are always, in many aspects of the world, apart from e-commerce, they're ahead. In e-commerce, bizarrely, the US market follows. So when it was click and collect, broke out the UK, France, and it's about a third of all online orders are picked up in the actual store that you've ordered it from. That took another 2 to 3 years to get to the States, and they called it BOPIS. What the hell is BOPIS? Do you know what BOPIS stands for?
Buy online, something in store. People
Pick up.
pick up in store. Oh, okay. Yeah, they have their own weird and wonderful abbreviations.
Fine, but they do tend to follow very slightly behind what Europe does in e-commerce. I use click and collect BOPIS as an example, but it makes perfect sense that as they look across and see out of home and see lockers and see the absolute adoption of Pudo, not as a niche, which it pretty much is in the States in terms of volume, but as a mainstream part of the logistics solution, that they're going to follow along. And I think in 26, 27, we're definitely going to see that following along accelerate.
I'll just qualify what you said because, as you probably remember, I spent a year with Amazon in the US, and I half agree because when you say e-commerce last mile, totally in agreement. E-commerce fulfillment, honestly, Amazon wrote the book on that. The fulfillment centers are absolutely incredible.
Yeah, but what Amazon were forced to do is push it into legacy carrier systems. So UPS, with ground, FedEx with air, USPS with everything, all the baggage that brings. There wasn't a great solution for them. So I think you've got two things happening in the States at the same time. In your report, the out-of-home report that Marek's team built nails it really well. Is that there are two big things that are happening there. One is the growth of out-of-home. The other one is the emergence of these what were called regional carriers, the sort of on-tracks and Uni-Unis and all of the and GLS, even from Europe, coming out on the West Coast, starting to take market share. All of the market share has been soaked up by Amazon and these regional carriers because the legacy carriers are not able to respond in the way the market's demanding. And we've run well over time on this one.
So, Gary, here we have it. First of all, I hope everybody noticed that Gary actually had to eat a wee bit of humble pie today. I'm still not totally in agreement on e-commerce overall, but yeah, let's say definitely the last mile. This is a place where Europe's ahead. But it would be great to hear your comments. Please, share your comments below. Have we got it right? Is there something we've missed in the US? And, where do you think this is going to be taking us? This is probably going to be our last episode before Christmas 2025, Gary. So we've overrun anyway. So let's overrun for a couple of seconds more. On my behalf, and in a minute you can add a few words from yourself, I'd like to wish everyone a wonderful Christmas, and may 2026 bring only good surprises, both privately, in a wider in the wider context of what's happening politically, and in your business if you're running one.
I couldn't agree more, and it's the start of a new chapter for me. This will be my last recording while I'm still working with Quadient. All the recordings in the future will be me working as much more independently. But I would like to wish everyone that I've spoken to and worked with in the last 12 months a happy Christmas, or if you must insist and you're on the other side of the pond, happy holidays, and look forward to picking up with you again, Marek, in the new year and continuing what we're doing. It's been fun.
Gary, many thanks. See you in 2026.
Thank you.
Gary, I was looking at the subscriptions and realized that a huge number of our audience actually don't subscribe to watch our videos.
Really? That's outrageous. It's a bit like watching the BBC without your TV license. How can we keep it free if people aren't subscribing and letting us know they want more of this content? It's ridiculous.
And on top of that, if they're not subscribed, they don't get information about the latest hot episode where you can make one of your witty jokes and we can talk about something that is really important for our industry.
if I knew that a single act like that would make sure I got maximum time taking the mickey out of you, I'd be hitting subscribe in a heartbeat.
Well, look, so here we have it. Please, everyone, if you haven't subscribed yet, this is your opportunity. Click right now. The button should be there, or maybe there. Do it now and have it done.